Hello again, everyone. In this example, we are going to solve the cubic equation where one of the term, which is x squared, is missing. So how we can write this cubic equation? We can write as 2x power 3. Since x squared is missing, I'm going to write down 0 times x squared minus 5x minus 3 equal to 0. Now we can easily proceed from this point on. In the next step, we want to add the alternative coefficients. What that means, we're going to add 2 and negative 3 and 0 and negative 3. If you add 2 and negative 5, that is, if you add them, that's going to give you negative 3, and 0 and negative 3, if you add them, that's going to give you negative 3 as well. And as you can see that these two numbers, just keep in your mind, they turns out to be same. So the next step dictates or states that if these two numbers turns out to be same, then one of our solution must be x equals to negative 1. So that means we have one of our solution is negative 1 for sure. In the next step, we want to perform the synthetic division. As you can see that I put down these coefficients 2, 0, negative 5 and negative 3 from this our given cubic equation, these three. And now since one of our solution we figured out in our previous step it was negative 1, so I want to put down negative 1 right up here. So let's go ahead and get started with our synthetic division. The very first thing is I want to make sure that 2, just bring it down right up here as it is. The next thing is I want you to multiply this negative 1 times 2. That turns out to be negative 2. Add these numbers, that turns out to be negative 2. Once again, I want you to multiply diagonally. Negative 1 times negative 2 is going to be positive 2. Negative 5 and 2 makes negative 3 when you add them. And finally, once again, negative 1 times negative 3 is going to give you positive 3. When you add negative 3 and positive 3, that's going to give you 0 as remainder. So what we figured out so far, so this number is going to be with x squared, this is going to be with x, and this negative 3 without x, which is called constant. So thus we can write this whole thing as 2x squared minus 2x minus 3 equal to 0. Now the next step what we want to do is we want to solve this quadratic equation. So we want to use a quadratic formula. So I'm sure you are aware of this quadratic formula. So we need to figure out what is going to be from this quadratic equation. A equals to 2, B equals to negative 2, and C equals to negative 3. Let's plug it in this given quadratic formula. So what we get, x equal to minus, and B is negative 2, plus minus b squared is what, negative 2 square, minus 4 times a is 2, c is negative 3. Everything is divided by 2 times a, which is 2. So let's go ahead and simplify it now. So what happens? So 2 negative and negative give you positive 2 plus minus. So that's gonna give you 4 plus this is gonna give you 24. Everything is divisible by 4. 2 times 2 is 4. So I can simplify more further. So I can write square root of 28 divided by 4. Now let's look at square root of 28. I can write, which could be broken down to 4 times 7, which could be broken down to 4 times 7 with the separate square roots. And you know that the square root of 4 is simply 2 times square root of 7. So I can write this whole thing as 2 plus minus 2 square root of 7, and I can split 4 over here like this way. So this whole thing could be written as 2 over 4 could be reduced to 1 over 2 plus minus 2 over 4. Once again, this could be written as square root of 7 divided by 2. So thus our solution set is going to be, now you have to tell me. So in the previous step, we figured out that x equal to -1. So one of our solution is -1, and we're going to split this one as well. So this could be written as 1 over 2 plus square root of 7 divided by 2, and the third solution is going to be 1 over 2 with the minus sign, square root of 7 over 2. So this is our solution, that is our answer. And finally, we want to check our solution, see whether our answer is right. So now the very first step is I want you to, whatever our solutions are, I want you to add them up. So if you add them up, that's going to be how much? So that's going to be -1 plus everything, whatever you did, just add them up, plus square root of 7 divided by 2, and then plus 1 over 2 minus square root of 7 over 2. And you ask yourself, is it equal to minus b over a? Now you might be wondering, what is a and what is b? So in our given original equation, this is your 2 is our a, b is 0, c is -5, and d is -3. So that means minus b over a is going to be a negative, and b is 0, over a is 2. So everything turns out to be 0. So one thing we figured out, that minus b over a is equal to 0. So I'm going to put down the 0 on this side. And once again, on this side, you can see that this negative square root 7 over 2, and these two things, they are gone. And one more thing, I want to make sure that 1 over 2 and 1 over 2, half and half makes 1. So we can simplify as -1 is already there, plus 1. So we're going to see, is the left hand side equal to 0? So the left hand side is 0 and the right hand side 0. Are they same? Yes, they are same. Thus we check our solution. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel for more exciting videos.